Cool. I'ma go pee.
Cool. Deco, we gonna have a post stream?
Post stream has just now started, actually.
Okay.
Shit.
As soon as you said that, that's where we're ending things off.
Sounds like Sasuke killed the super servant. That guy wasn't a servant.
We totally fucking thought he was, though.
I suggested.
Yeah, I still don't think he's a servant.
I know me as and Gary were like, that guy's totally a servant.
Well, when he calls him a high-level spirit, and I don't know much about fate, it's like, yeah, he's a servant. That sounds like a servant.
It's like all the things he was doing were very characteristic.
You're not wrong.
Of servant.
You're not wrong in that assumption, but that guy is close to a servant, but he's definitely not a servant.
Is he a wraith?
He's a servant,
pseudo-servant.
He's a servant in the same way that, like, spoilers for Fate Zero ahead, Alexander the Great's soldiers in the same way that they're servants.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
It's like a servant with consistently low parameters.
But still, it's still good compared to like any normal person.
Oh, totally. Still above most people. Though, to be fair, I will throw out there that he definitely is the sort of thing you want to fight with melee, like not with magic. Tell me he's part of a noble phantasm. I never said that. I just compared him to another thing within the Type Moon universe.
I didn't even hear you say that.
That's earlier. I suggested that because they're like, ooh, he must be a servant. I'm like, or is he a noble phantasm? They're like, ooh.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know about that because I'm pretty sure it's like.
We shall see. As of right now, none of us even know what anything about these servants.
Hey, Ian.
Yeah?
Based on your Arcana check earlier, there was a very particular piece of information that I should have given you. You're
Oh shit!
Assistant now.
Oh, shit. I can boot it back up.
Might want to.
1 sec. Thought the game was totally over.
Man, you could tell him. You could tell him out loud.
I could tell him out loud. That's an option. I don't think I will.
This seems more fun for some reason.
Secrets are great.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Monday. I finally get to do a in-person RPG with friends again.
There you go.
Pathfinder.
Okay, where are we?
We were streaming it, but we're going to be starting back up on that now that we'll be back in the town.
Woohoo!
Okay, so you're back in. How do I send a message to just you?
It's still kind of loading. 1 sec.
Go.
I like to log it.
It takes so long to exit fantasy
that?
runs.
Oh,
Oh, I got a pop-up.
There we go.
Yeah, that showed me.
Yeah, that showed up for everyone.
Oh, no.
So yeah, you don't entirely understand, but you like become aware that some force that's interacting with you, that is allowing you to identify things in ways that other people can't, gives you the knowledge that this like basically literally this knowledge, like even magic resistance C rank, those words are like occur to you.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is because you got a nat, and this is because you got a nat 20 on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got like
so
2 nat 20s today.
The guy you were fighting negates non-divine spells of 5th level or lower, can cast a spell magic 5th level with melee ranged attacks, and has resistance to all spell damage.
I need him to live through the rest of everything, just so that I can try fighting him again and do actually something to him.
God. So like none
The
of
guy
us
who
have
hits
spells.
on us a lot needs to train me.
Yeah, none of you guys, your scroll, your fucking robe of shards, that could have
Robe
been
of shards.
6th level. Your 6th level magic missile could do it.
Excuse me, but I did do some damage to him with Shillelagh.
But he was resistant to it.
And my tree did some damage to it.
What would Curse Blade have done to him?
That's not magic, so it would have functioned normally.
I'm just glad that he was able to he was able to take damage from the tree. Cause like I'm just so glad I can use that in battle.
Also, there's a fucking date on this page. Is that significant?
Who knows?
Dun 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 dun.
God damn it.
You're referring to the Saber 1920 Grill War thing?
Dun 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 dun.
It's only as significant as you make it.
Okay, it means something.
Keep in mind, I've done another Grill War in the same universe in 1920.
I figured that's probably what it was.
Dun 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 dun.
Though I will delete that to keep the enigma.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now you can't go back and reference it. You'll forget. wait.
1920 Black Grail War.
Write it down in the notes section of your character sheet.
Keeping in mind, fucking that information wouldn't have occurred to you. Like you wouldn't have gotten that from the Grail.
On my side, someone has said that. On my side, someone has said that he was not hurt from the tree. He was hurt from the fall from the tree, and I know that's the exact opposite of what happened, right? You said the fall didn't actually hurt him.
60 feet to him is like whatever. Most falls.
Stonewalker. I've already figured out Stonewalker's entire like purpose in these games. She is there to make the badass NPCs look badass.
That's, you know what? Well, you keep challenging them.
Well, I had reasons for challenging both of them. Thank you.
Alright. So I'm gonna stop my stream. So the stream going to Something Witty Gaming and to my YouTube channel and my Twitch, that's gonna stop. Deco, remind them where to go to do post stream.
Yes, over at the post stream, if you would like to, guys, head over to youtube.com, youtube.com.
Right.
/Summoners Network. I put a link to the actual live chat in the Twitch, but for those of you who are not on Twitch, just youtube.com /Summoners Network live.
Oh yes.
There we go.
Aaron just posted in the chat.
There we go.
But he only posted the Twitch one. All right. So we're out of here, unless you're over there. Bye-bye. Bye. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Jesus.
Punch that like button in the face.
Like a boss. Thanks for putting it in the other chat too, Aaron.
Alright, guys. Brofist.
Come on, guy.
I'm glad that I got my ass kicked though in this game. It was fun character development.
No, yeah, that was fun. That was good.
Like
no,
we
you
can
lost.
make
That
fun of
was-
Stonewalker for like fighting against odds she can never win against all the time, but it was fun.
No, guys, don't kill the chittens. They're innocent and fucking they're fine. They're misunderstood. Fucking Q a week and a half later. This samurai douche though.
Well, excuse me, I wasn't trying to kill this one. I was trying to kill Sasuke. Cause I literally saw him pretty much murder a person in front of me, and I'm freaking lawful good.
So dramatic irony being what it is, because your characters have no idea that Sasuke just found and attacked Kosuke. Do you guys like as players, how does that shift how you think of Sasuke?
It doesn't shift. It doesn't shift it in the slightest for me.
So I'm good either way.
I was, yeah.
I believe that Aaron knows a little bit too much to be able to say.
Yeah, Aaron's been in another game where Sasuke was the main antagonist essentially, so he's already like, yeah, this guy's a dick. If you're asking me as a person.
If you're asking me as a person, my honestly nothing changed for me. I knew he was gonna do something like this eventually. If I learn about this in character, then Stonewalker's gonna be like, we'll see.
I wasn't just being stupid.
He's not out for our complete benefit like everybody seems to think.
So, you know how you wanted to use the gun with Finn?
Oh my god.
What if you hadn't cast Mage Hand?
Could
And
I don't
use
think
the
Finn.
gun with that.
I don't think Finn can cast Mage Hand, can he?
You can only catch. I think you can only cast any spell that has the range of touch through your familiar, or any spell that affects senses. Like if you want to cast Night Vision, you can cast it, and if you're familiar, if you cast it on them, they'll be night.
Oh wait a minute, so I can cast touch spells through him?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you
Dude,
wanna
I could
cast
have
them-
I can have Finn fly on top of Gael and then heal Gael with Cure Wounds.
Yeah, a very meta thing that a lot of players would do early on, especially with like early 5e stuff, is because I think it's owls, have an ability called Pass Without a Trace, something like that, where they don't provoke opportunity attacks, they pass by you, is they'll have them fly in with half their movement, attack, and then fly away with the rest of their movement. So they can just air strafe bitches with fucking like shocking grasp over and over again.
That's freaking awesome! I don't think I have any great touch spells to take advantage of that right now, but that's fucking awesome.
You better not be licking my bed again.
I am. What are you gonna do about it?
My dog keeps on licking my bed and like leaving a wet patch of spit that I have to sleep on, and it's gross.
Guido, Guido in my chat says, when you get back to the Clockwork Girl, ask her to make you a Clockwork Owl.
Oh
But,
my god.
Oh,
if it wasn't for licks, then why is it made of good tastes?
why is it made of yum?
Master, you don't understand. It tastes good, so it obviously is meant to be taste.
In the words of many cats, if it fits, I sits.
If it fits, I sit.
Oh.
I mean, I don't think that's ever stopped a cat from sitting on things that don't fit.
Yeah, or it's like, if this is not for sitting, then why is it made of warm?
I love that one. So adorable.
Can make a clockwork. The one that keeps clutching through battles for everyone.
Freaking, why would I make her make me a Clockwork Owl? Just make me a Clockwork Kabuteri Buzz.
Oh my god, here
Yeah.
you go.
No.
Oh, here you go. You fucking, this is just love.
Oh god.
Name it Finn 2.0.
Oh Jesus.
Eh.
What?
Oh,
I gotta put that.
Oh, god damn it.
I gotta put that in the stream. Give me a second. That's gotta go in.
So here's a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an unfair question given that you don't know like the full capabilities of either character. Who do you think would win if Gearfree and Sasuke fought?
Tusky.
Gear free. Gear free.
I would
Gear
hope-
free would win. Gear free has destroyed dragons, and I would help him. So.
Uh,
Oh, I'm sure you'd be so useful.
It would probably be a detriment.
Honestly,
Nuh-uh.
You helped me and Eric.
I helped you to your death, and it
Did
worked.
help us.
Alright, so right now he probably wouldn't win, but after the power up he hopefully will get, maybe.
Like I said, only maybe with the power up, but I still think Sasuke.
Nah, dude, nah. I believe in my boy Gear free, even if all of you guys don't.
Y'all ain't seen what I seen,
It's
man.
not
I'm mostly
It's
just
not
saying
about
this.
all
I'm
you.
mostly just saying this though because I really want Gear free to fight him so I can help. So.
Considering that Sasuke is basically the Saitama of this fucking game.
I don't know.
Kind
No,
of, yeah.
here's the thing. No, I'm going to. At some point, I will contribute to the defeating of Sasuke.
It'll be next
First
game
of
when
all,
we do
he
the
doesn't
Great War.
one-shot anything. Second of all, you guys have never actually seen him fight.
I saw him not fight whenever I was fighting him.
Yeah, there was an incident.
There was an incident.
I saw him not fight whenever I was fighting him. That's something, right?
Whenever I tried to fight him, he didn't fight, and he won.
I'm making this like my #1 priority for Stonewalker. She will contribute to his defeat at some point.
Good luck.
I will contribute to this person's defeat.
Fucking see you in Sweden.
I will go as far as I need to go. I will go to the ends of this earth.
The fuck?
Here's the question then. What happens to Gearfried if the woman dies?
I think he's fine because he keeps getting put into
he's-
each generation.
I mean, he wouldn't like have anything to do because he was built to protect the family heir. But he wouldn't like turn off or anything. He would just be like, "I'm out of a job."
It's okay,
They're
Gearfree.
very
You can come with me to kill Sasaki, because Sasaki's the one that got rid of her, obviously. Even if we don't know that, it was probably him.
It's actually interesting because his relationship with Orla, and this obviously hasn't had any chance to come up, but obviously he cares about Orla in the same way that he cares about literally everybody that's not completely evil. But he cares more about the family as a concept than about Orla as a person.
So he'd feel less sad that Orla was dead, but more sad that the family lineage is gone.
That his purpose was over, and that he failed to protect the family as like a lineage, as opposed to Orla as an individual person.
So is he
But at
gonna
the same
force
time-
Orla to make an heir at some point?
Ooh.
I probably shouldn't be talking about this early, but like, he's kind of also why their family members don't live past 60.
That's fine.
If they die, their magic circuits can't be used in the proper way to like be put into him.
Oh,
their family magic is built in such a way that their circuits will kill them, like start killing them after the age of 60.
So they can be put inside of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's built. He doesn't like necessarily like that fact, and he doesn't care about becoming more powerful. It's just something that occurs and is built into him. So, yeah. And he is also there to kind of help the family continue, but he's not a matchmaker. He's not like, you need to be like, you've turned 30, you need to be married now.
We're just gonna figure out some way that somehow that a baby can be born from Isla and Orla.
He just starts bringing home guys, and Orla's like, "What are they doing here?" Oh, nothing. They're just window dressing. See, they're dressing windows.
Why are they dressing windows in their underwear?
That said, Gearfree's been like doing his duty for so long that his programming just kind of runs underneath everything. Like, he has his own pseudo desires at this point. It's just if he ever tried to go against his programming, then it would reassert itself. But it doesn't drive his every action.
I believe in my boy Gearfree. I believe. If he couldn't defeat Sasaki, he could injure him. I believe in my boy Gearfree.
Sure.
Don't even whatever. I believe. Belief is everything.
I invited him.
No good.
Yo, buddy.
Hello.
I have a question for you later, because
What
I
is
feel
it?
bad about this. I can't say it here.
Ooh.
What is it? What do you,
It's a thing
Oh, Buddy's here.
that happened to Sasuke that I'm vaguely aware happens after the war, or like between now and the war,
Oh, buddy died.
Buddy's
Yeah.
gone.
I know.
and where he goes, and where one of our characters is from. No.
Send me the question in text, because I do not get what you're putting down.
I also had a game-related tech or question. I mean,
Oh.
Because he's
Is
gonna
this
be
'cause
called
of-
by a different name, and that person is from a place that isn't
From America.
around here. Yeah.
here
What's your
comes
question
Bandit
about that,
Keith.
though?
I'm from America.
Yeah. No, that's it. I was just thinking, like,
You're from Canada.
That's still in North America.
if she hangs out with Al Capone, she's from New York.
Well, she's met Al Capone.
Yeah.
No. I am besties with Al Capone.
Okay, that's
That's
something
from
I was gonna
Canada.
ask, Blue. You didn't know what a gun was, but you're best friends with Al Capone.
He's really young right now. Al Capone is really young right now.
Right now,
He's
it's
young.
just a
Al
little
Capone's
loud.
one of the main characters of Boardwalk Empire, and he still uses a shit ton of guns in that and in real life.
Here's the thing.
He's just
No,
in his...
it's not even that I didn't know what a gun was. I didn't know a gun was science.
Gildo, I don't know if you meant to write, fucking... Arturian and Mordred did not have a kid. Mordred is the kid.
Oh my god. Ew.
He might be thinking of Morgana.
No.
Or Morgan. It's Morgan. It's Morgan Le Fay.
Cue a picture of Jamie Lannister going nice.
It's Morgan. It's Morgan Le Fay, and they have Mordred, not the other one. Wow. Interesting.
Not Morgana either.
But which would you Mordred?
You know, it's not Morgana either.
Rep.
I don't care if I butchered your name. You
But
just
let-
talked about two.
But yeah, I believe that I've probably seen guns. I've probably seen guns being near Al Capone. However, I would not knew. It was news to me that guns were science. I don't know what science is.
Oh my god.
Just another branch of magic to you.
I'm just like, this is science? Oh my god. But I thought what you did earlier was science.
They're both science.
Oh my god.
The video Doc just posted is science too.
Science is so versatile.
How much time, Deco, does Stonewalker spend in New York?
I would say that again, because the way we said it was she got help from Al Capone to get across overseas. So I would say a good amount of time, enough that Al Capone at least either trusts her or wants to get on her good side, knowing that she's magic.
Oh, jeez.
Oh god.
Yeah, legitimate concern. So, spoilers, because the other game that Sasuke's in is in the future, and we actually established what he was doing before the other Holy Grail War, he was hanging out in New York for a few years.
Do what? Would I have? Wait.
It's Sasuke Al Capone.
No, Sasuke's not Al Capone.
I'm joking, of course, but
Okay. All right. So, it wouldn't have been Robin though, would it?
What?
Would it have been him and Robin's body?
It's after now.
Oh, after
it's
now.
It's in the future, after the Adelia stuff.
This motherfucker, if he comes to my state, we gonna tussle.
It's New York. At this point,
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
on the planet.
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
all right, Spider-Man.
I don't think that's going to matter to him.
Yo, gangs in New York would be a very entertaining concept to Sasuke, and then he'd go there and be like, "Oh, but you're all weak."
I don't know what you're talking about. I think Stonewalker and Al Capone are gonna kick the shit out of Sasuke.
Tommy guns and shit.
Dude, I would totally think, at that point, I would find the greatest fucking ley line I could find in all of New York. I would start shillelagh powering up all the Tommy guns like I did to the crossbow with Isla.
Your blue ass on top of the Statue of Liberty.
Hell fucking yeah, dude.
This giant, like, all gangs in New York decide to get along to join behind Stonewalker to hunt down this one guy with a sword hand.
This needs to be a movie. This needs to be a short story and then a movie. And then we need a game adaptation.
I would see it.
I'll
Yo,
await
that
my check in the mail.
Like, that massacre that brought down, like, Al Capone, when was that?
The Valentine's Massacre didn't actually. The Valentine's Massacre did not actually bring down Al Capone. It was what got him. It's what got him sent to Alcatraz.
When did it happen?
A long time away from like 1920.
It was
Fuck, I was gonna
29.
say-
Again, that's 9 years after 1920, though.
Yeah, damn. If it was in that range, I was gonna be like, what if?
1929?
What if Sasuke did that? 19. I can't move the Grail War. It's stuck at 1920.
Damn.
The game is currently set in 1915, right?
Yeah, the Grail War will be in 5 years. If any of you guys
So yeah, at some point within these 5 years, Stonewalker and Sasuke gonna meet again in New York, and depending on what happens in this game, I'm either gonna invite him out for pizza or we gonna tussle.
Don't tussle, please.
The tussles have not gone well historically.
Although again, I mean, actually, oh god, I just thought of something. Logan, would he know about what's? I mean, he probably wouldn't, right? What we've already talked about. Would he know that from Stonewalker? This is a question for not a stream.
Oh no.
Send me just a private message with your question, and I'll give you the vaguest answer I can.
Gotcha. I'm gonna do that right now.
Oh wow, his surprise streams backfire on him.
It's not a surprise
We got
stream. These are planned now.
anything embarrassing they want to talk about?
Buddy, get in here. Where are you, motherfucker?
You're right.
Where that booty vibe?
What you gonna ask?
Question about the.
Oh, there he is.
There it is.
Weird.
When you like come into the call, you disappear for fucking ever, and then just suddenly I'm like, "Where the fuck you at, buddy?"
Solid.
Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you.
God damn it.
Okay, so vague answer. No.
Okay.
Too soon, and you actually don't have any potential
Until certain
the
things happen.
Until the massacre happens, yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know at the very least.
Everyone else, forget you heard anything about a massacre.
I mean, to
Alright.
be honest, like, there's not really, like, even just thinking about it, like, unless he does something extremely fucking crazy in Adelia, like, unless he does something that, like, it's extremely crazy, like, she's not gonna try to fight him if she does see him in New York. Like, especially away from Gael and the others, like, she's not gonna try to fight him alone.
Yeah.
Like, she's, like, unless he does something truly outrageously evil or something in front of her within the next couple of games, then she's most likely going to be like, I see you're here. Yeah, I'm here. You want to go get some pizza? I know a good place.
What would he have to do to be that evil to you?
Well, again, I'm lawful good. So even if I learned that he fought with the dude just then and left him alive, like, I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna, like,
unless he like massacres, be like somebody for no good reason, or
unless he attacks somebody, like, and kills them. By the way, they have to die. Unless he attacks somebody that I, personally have friendship with or something and murders them, or for no good reason. If there's a good reason, then bypass this. Or he does something truly just evil, like I'm going to spirit bomb freaking the other city and destroy countless, like, unless he does something truly evil, like unforgivable in front of her that she learns about, then she's not gonna try to fight him. She already knows how that's gonna happen.
okay.
She already knows that dude's gonna destroy me. I don't have Gael anymore. He's disappeared. If Ina Isla lived through this, then they're overseas. They're gonna be able to help me. I have Al Capone.
They're gonna have a lot of stuff to deal with, like 17-year-olds dealing with this amount of murder.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, there is no
Protecting
possible
it.
way. There is absolutely no way, unless he does something that is unforgivable in Stonewalker's eyes, that she would try to fight him alone. She'd still be really kind of upset at him, but she'd also know that, like, you helped us get out of Adelia. At this point where, everything's already passed by, I'm already thinking of new things, and I don't want you to really kill me or my friends here. Do you want a piece of pizza?
What's your question, Hawk?
Don't worry about it.
I'm worried about it. What's your question, Hawk?
No, I was just gonna ask, since Eric's body got taken by Alquam, if Gael ended up dying again, would he be in that realm at the same time, or is he just?
They're just like, yo, they look at each other.
Well, it's not like there's not like a pocket dimension where everything Alquam owns floats. Like everything is like separated and suspended,
Yes.
unless Alquam wants to interact with it.
You're in Alquam's like storage closet.
Chat, this game's not going to become a JoJo thing. They're like,
There
it's the
is
same
a
time
JoJo
period, they can
reference.
cross over. No. Okay.
Dude, no. This has okay, so Joseph shows up. I meet Joseph. He meets Al Capone. We're all like, yeah, we go for pizza. Sasaki shows up, and then we do like the special move, which is just get the fuck out. We do
Who
the
can
Jonathan.
use a stand?
We're just like, no, we out. We gone.
We out.
I just think it's funny because, like, in my mind, Stonewalker does not go back to Canada because, you know, unless somehow Broodhoof gets out of this, okay, it's not gonna happen. She doesn't have any real reason to go back to her elven tribe. She's probably gonna go back to Al Capone and be like, hey, yo, I'm just gonna stay here for a bit. And Al Capone's like, you're magic. I want to keep you around. That one time that we met the first time, you healed me and stuff. So I would like to have you around. Yes.
You said Alquam.
Al Quampone.
It all makes sense.
I knew
Plot
it.
twist.
Oh,
Piece of shit.
Oh, Al Wampone.
I don't know if that's like his secret identity or if that's a cute shipping name.
I would absolutely love though, just like again in New York, Sasuke shows up, they see each other again, just have a bit of a stare down for a bit. She's like,
If you're lawful good, why are you buddy with a gangster?
uh,
Being lawful good doesn't mean you can't know gangsters.
yeah, it doesn't mean I can't know people. Besides, again, if you look at certain iterations of Al Capone, you could still technically consider him a good guy. You could. In
Right.
certain iterations, you could technically still consider him a decent person. You know, as long as he wasn't the one that ordered the Valentine's Massacre. Which was never proven.
You know what? Maybe it's like a Assassin's Creed situation. Like they're all like evil Templars or something.
Other than being friends with them are different things. Al Capone's not a distinctly evil entity in the universe. He's not like a demon.
Also, Blue knows him when he's a kid
Yeah.
or a teen or
Yeah.
20.
This is pre
Youngin.
other stuff.
This is
Al
pre
Capone.
anything. Like this is him. Like I think in 1920, like around like 15 and 20, like he's just now getting into gangs. I think the worst thing he's done at this point is pop his teacher in the mouth.
I think he's killed Dan O'Banion by that
And
point.
let's
maybe.
be honest, Stonewalker's done worse.
Let's be honest, I disintegrated a guy.
He's 23.
I disintegrated a guy not only for killing my owl, that was a different guy, but for trying to swing at my owl, I disintegrated a guy. Lawful good is what you make of it.
Is it?
So, if you guys end up being able to help,
Whatever I consider lawful is what my good is.
yeah, if you guys end up being able to help Gear Free, he's gonna end up getting access to a bunch of spells that he can just cast innately.
nice.
Magic that is stored within the circuits of
Mark-
all the mages that are stuck in his body.
Marcus says, is Stonewalker coming down with a case of saninitis? Where what's with all the fighting?
You spared spider people.
I did at first.
Yeah.
Like I said, you have like the best character development, or the most at least.
No, I actually really am looking forward because again, the biggest thing that's happened to like the current party, like I'm not gonna say, you know, other than the people that died. I still think like the most interesting thing that I've seen is Ian and Isla getting those swords.
Yo, yeah.
Like and like their whole like budding relationship with Sasaki.
But I mean, their personality hasn't really changed.
Yeah, but like that
Mark
kind of thing is like
personality,
something that
or-
spurs development later on, you know? Like the whole thing with them is now they're like, oh, we got help from Sasaki, and they haven't told anybody. they've kept that so secret, and it's like, you know, like these people, like, out of the entire group, these two especially are like, maybe we have a vested interest in keeping Sasaki around.
He ain't done shit to us, yeah.
So, like, I think that, like, it's more the things that haven't happened with them that are interesting than the things that have at this point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, me, I just, like, well, I used to, I was thinking, like, you know, I was trained in quarterstaffs, so obviously I fought with my master before, and she probably hasn't done that in quite a long time, just fighting for the sake of fighting. So it's like, this guy shows up, knocks his sword out of dude's hand, perfect, you know, I want to hurt this guy, because the entire time since we've been here, all of Tobias's people have been acting like they're better than us, and I want to fight this guy. And yeah, he beat the shit out of me.
That's because they're all idiosyncratic assholes. Like,
And then he beat the shit out of me, which is
people,
fine
but
at that
they're all,
point.
like, they come from very interesting backgrounds.
Mhm.
It's less that they think they're better and more that they have very specific views about people in different, like, positions in society.
It's also Duncan too. Like, to an extent, it's also Duncan, because the biggest thing Duncan told us is that, hey, we need you to protect this place while he rests. It's like, we're the B squad now, Duncan. We're not even supposed to be here for you. We're your B squad. Fuck you, Duncan.
God damn it, Kara.
So, like, that's, like, one of the things, like, that was, like, a bit of a frustration for her this game, was just, like, you know, in the beginning when we showed up, Duncan's been mainly, like, saying these guys are the big guys. We saw that this guy was the one that actually took down the place over at the mountain, like in the other place. And all they want us to do is pretty much stall for time until this guy gets better, and all of his men are treating us like shit. Like, as soon as this guy, like, knocked the sword out of Ian's hand, I'm just like, I gotta go. Like, this has to happen now. I have to show them that we're not just pushovers, even though I lost.
I did not think that was going to instigate such a fight.
Yo, yeah.
Well, to be fair, there wasn't, like, a lot of malice in that fight.
It was mostly just wanting to fight. It was mostly just like, I need to get this out of me so I can continue with my mission.
Yeah.
And I will say that Kosuke very much enjoyed it. Like, he wasn't enjoying it in a haha I'm beating you sense. He just enjoyed sparring.
Yeah.
Like, that was fun for him.
And again, it kind of let me go with the whole thing of, like, you know, like, I haven't got to do this a lot, so thank you. You know, like, it was a mutual enjoyment. And whenever he was like, you didn't seem like you enjoyed the fight, she's just like, you're really kind to call that a fight, basically. Like, you are really nice to call what that was a fight, but thank you. I learned a lot. So, yeah. And now me and Gael are exhausted.
Yeah,
So-
fucking Guido's, like, it's probably interesting for him to see Stonewalker use a strange strategy, like making a tree. That caught him by surprise!
I never got to use it before.
Not just a tree, but a 60-foot tree.
Like, if that would have been something other than whatever the fuck he was, if that would have been something other than whatever the fuck he was, that would have been 60 foot of fall damage, which would have sucked.
Probably would have died.
For anything else but him.
Yeah, that would have
Your name's
sucked.
Guido. Yes, you died by falling, we know!
I'm not letting any of you forget.
We were all there, I described it.
I'm the one that pulled the trigger. I understand you guys fell to your deaths.
And the one person who could have maybe fought against that guy is gone now. But you know what? That's fine. I'm not bitter. I'm not salty.
Boys roll bad, so.
Also, can I enchant the gun?
You'd have to find...
Like, not with Shillelagh. Can I enchant it with something else?
You'd have to pay quite a bit to get it enchanted.
But I can.
No.
You'd also have to find a mage or magical blacksmith or enchanter that's willing to touch technology like that.
There's 5 years that I have in between now and a war that may be starting, so...
You just learn to use a gun, you come back, Stonewalker has like a suit and is a professional assassin working for Al Capone. Staff of the Woodlands in one hand, sunglasses at night, like vest, suit, gun in the other hand,
Fedora cap in a head.
still blue skin.
Why are you working for the mob, Stonewalker? I need all the information I can so I can learn how to bring back Gael. It's not gonna happen!
I don't think Al Capone has that knowledge.
He's looking into it, alright? Shut up!
No.
Fucking 2 years, and Uncle Wilson's like, hey yo, Stonewalker, I found something! The thing that got him, what was called the Void!
Hey, that's a lot of improvement, actually. In 2 years he found out this? Dude, hell yes!
True.
I live really long! I live really long. This guy, I'm putting my faith in this kid.
Al Capone's entire reason he rose to the top of the crime world is to find Gael.
Could Ian or Isla do something for the gun? Ian and Isla cannot enchant equipment in that way. They can cast spells on the equipment to give it temporary, like elemental weapon or what have you, but...
Ooh! Ian, you could elemental weapon the gun!
They couldn't give it like a permanent +1 or anything.
We can shoot fire bullets!
As for stuff to coat the bullets, Ian could come the closest, but like his extracts are like basically spells. They wouldn't be like a permanent thing.
Besides, if you want to be a badass with a gun, you fucking cover the bullets in holy water.
I see.
No, so does that mean Stonewalker would go to jail if she's working with Al Capone? I mean,
I don't know if a jail can really hold me.
Mages Association would probably be upset with you if you use too much magic around like non-magic.
That's why I wouldn't. That's why I wouldn't use the magic. Like, here's the thing. Why would I be in jail? You're assuming I'm doing stuff for Al Capone. He's my friend.
He's just my bro.
You're just feeding good berries to people who get shot and healing them.
Also, I so happen to have several druid abilities such as Wild Shape. Who's gonna put a dog in jail? Also, I can turn fucking invisible.
Yeah, I was about to say, they could put her in jail, but she wouldn't stay.
You never help the mobsters. They just happen to come to your fruit stand every single day. That
Exactly, dude.
To them and closes immediately.
I am totally. Here's the thing. I am totally okay with helping the mob as long as I'm not killing anyone or hurting anyone. Like, why would Stonewalker be averse to this? I'm not technically doing anything. I'm just healing the guys.
So Gael, what are you doing after the Adelia stuff?
You know, chilling in the eternal night, waiting till Alquam tells me to do something or nothing.
Waiting until I save you.
Oh.
I mean, if it gets bad enough, you might just send me at you.
It's like, yeah, she's getting really close to figuring out how to bring you back. Go to her. You come back. I did it.
I feel like this is where he didn't tell me what I was supposed to do today. Just wake up in New York. What the fuck?
I feel like we're far enough into the campaign now where we're getting to that point where we'd have like a mid-season opening change.
Oh,
Listening to
shit.
different songs and imagining
Oh
openings.
yeah, we had a big like. If I were to put it anywhere, it'd probably be just as they left Graywell. Like
Post
Yeah, boy.
opened with like them figuring out what to do with Delka's body, mourning the deaths of their friends, and then like after Gaia like blows that dude's face off, and they start writing out the opening kick in over that.
Liam says, I don't think Blue would do this, but instead of the Finn wielding a gun thing, you could summon a familiar that makes an octopus, which can fire the gun.
Guido, I don't think you understand how counter guardians work. Is Gael a counter guardian of Alden?
Well, yeah, counter guardians are forces of the world, not like
They're
gods
very
or anything.
specific. And Gael is not on the level of a counter guardian.
No,
Like, you could technically say that he's a champion of Alquam.
Oh,
Yeah, totally.
Primal Fear. You just got like several notches of coolness in my books.
Like, you could say that he's some sort of a champion of Alquam or something like that, but like on the level of a heroic spirit or a counter guardian, I don't think so. Not now, especially not now.
Oh no! Ultimately, it can be never because he doesn't exist. So
Guido,
the
I
only
just
let-
quiet. I just said their name the way that they wanted me to say their name, and they're still getting upset.
Is it Guido or it's Guido, right? Guido, like that. You always get you always get on me whenever I say like. You never get on me when I say Guido, right? It's Guido.
Or maybe it's supposed to be like Jito.
I believe it's supposed to be. I believe it's supposed to be Guido. But if he's saying Guido, yeah, Guido, right there.
Guido, that's what I was saying originally, and you got mad at me.
Oh no!
We're not friends anymore.
Oh, no. But yeah, it's Guido.
Yes.
Jesus.
But yes, like, I don't think like if he ever used you again, like you would probably come back as like whatever power you had when you went in. So if we get you strong enough, then you may be on like a level of like a pseudo servant, or maybe even better than that, depending on your level in D&D. You know.
I'm gonna throw out there that okay, so if we use Alexander the Great's pseudo servants, his soldiers, as kind of the image of what a pseudo servant should low ranking servant, which I believe in their case they have like straight E's, don't they?
Yes,
So,
the pseudo servants have E everything.
Which puts them on basically the level of 10 times the strength and what have you of a normal average human being.
Mhm.
I'd say to get to that point, that would probably be equivalent to like an average 11th level character in like D&D terms.
So yeah, I'm like it's not unthinkable for Gael to get that strong.
No, absolutely not. I would say that Gael is already relatively close to that because Gael's above average.
Yeah, he's first off he's a freaking he's a Goliath, so I still can't wait until Stonewalker realizes like, hey, I could talk to you in Giant, but I don't want to do it because like you might take offense to it.
It's like you start speaking in Giant, and Gael looks over. What is that?
What are you doing?
Sorry, I haven't spoken that in a long time. What with
Your
being thrown
accent
out of
is
my
kind of
village.
confusing.
Is that North American?
I'm gonna speak to you. I'm gonna speak to you in my native Canadian tongue. Hockey, hockey, snow moose, eh?
What the fuck did you just say about my mother?
You're like trying.
Gonna go, motherfucker.
You're like trying to speak Giant with a Canadian accent. You're just like Octaka Bakute.
I'm just going to assume like for some reason I learned this. I don't know why this is like in my language list. I'm just going to assume
Fearbog.
that is it because I'm a Fearbog?
Oh what?
Is it because I'm a Fearbog?
Yeah.
Oh, apparently Fearbogs speak Giant.
To answer the chat question, the person that said I thought Alexander's army was legit servants. They're servants kind of effectively, just in that they don't have a proper monosource, and they don't have like noble phantasms. They don't really have class skills, and their rank they have straight E's for like parameters.
Again, they are servants. They're just really bad servants.
So like we kind of throw them as pseudo servant because if you put them beside virtually any other servant, they don't like add up in terms of like what they're capable.
The only reason that the reality marble itself is even that great is because there's so many of them.
And they're immediately on preferred terrain.
Mm-hmm. So like they all have E stats, which honestly shouldn't even be able to defeat a assassin like too easily. But there's like hundreds of them, so
yeah, it's an overwhelming force. But it pales in comparison when they're put up against something that like numbers can't take out, like Caster's Eldritch Monster. Like numbers can't overcome that.
Which is why like whenever he did bring it into the reality marble, it didn't defeat it.
Yeah.
You needed something on the level of something that could have defeated it, and a bunch of E-rank people, even with hundreds of them, could not take out basically Cthulhu.
It also the big dent in the number of soldiers he had, but when light novel information tells us that like that thing took a really big chunk out of his army too.
Yeah, I mean you can't really say that that's probably the reason he lost, but it did make his Noble Phantasm a lot weaker.
Again, when he fought in the battle that he lost during, like numbers didn't play in.
Numbers would not play in something that destroys everything.
Yeah, because they never made it to him. The ground under their feet.
I still like my idea that the Grail knows like what it's doing to an extent when it summons servants. I still like the idea that technically you can find a fault in every servant that the Grail summons that someone else can exploit.
Yeah, like we used to talk. We went over this a long, long time ago, and like in Zero, like Lancer from the Zero War is actually
humongous.
Archer's foil.
Yeah, I think that Lancer is a really good foil to him. I honestly think to an extent Berserker. Like,
yes, Berserker's really good at holding him off, but I think Lancer counters his skills because Gilgamesh's big thing is he has an abundance of magical weapons, and Lancer destroys magic.
Lancer's just like, oh, look at all these magical freaking weapons, I don't care.
Lancer also has that weird, uncanny ability to be like, I'm over here now, and Gilgamesh's big issue is like, he's powerful, but if you catch him off guard, he's really easy to take out.
So yeah, like, I really like to think that every servant that the Grail summons something that can defeat it. Because in the end, the Grail wants them all to be defeated. In some way. So, Ryder's biggest problem was cannot go up against Gilgamesh in any way. Like, Gilgamesh destroys Ryder. Even though I technically do consider Alexander like a stronger servant, I really do, but there's no way that he could beat Gilgamesh.
I feel like the battle might have gone a little bit differently if he still had Gordius Wheel. But
by that point he'd lost so much.
Yeah.
He didn't. You could kind of tell in the end that even he knew he couldn't really win. So I'm not gonna say he didn't try, but he knew.
In general, even if you have like advantage against him, a head-on fight with Gil is generally suicide. Because he's a lot in this kind of a different way from Alexander. He's overwhelming, which is why again an assassin servant would, one that he's not expecting would be great against Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lancer's ability to cause uncurable wounds and also destroy magical artifacts is complete.
I'd like to think that every servant has like a hard counter and a soft counter. And again, if we consider like Gilgamesh, I think the hard counter is Lancer and the soft counter, like the maybe counter, is Berserker.
Yeah.
And like just Gilgamesh hard countered Ryder, like out of there, is Gander gone. And all those servants, again, like they're the pseudo servants. Like they're all on E level. There's a lot of them. That's why they were still good. But that sort of level, like yeah, an 11th level character would probably be around that, if not a little bit better. I'd say around that.
Somebody asked 2 questions in the chat. One of them is earlier was, could Alexander's soldiers be individually summoned? Yes, but they wouldn't be the highest tier servants. A lot of them might have abilities, but if we're sticking to Zero and Stay Knight's way that they treat servants, they really wouldn't have all that much lore behind them.
Yeah, they wouldn't, but also like certain servants would have a little bit of lore, but it really depends on the master at that point.
Yeah.
Because again, these servants are all servants like without masters, which is why their stats are so low. I don't think any of them could be better than Alexander.
No.
None of them. I don't think any of them could be better than Alexander, but...
The other question is, could Lancer's uncurable wounds be healed by the youth potion? In theory?
Actually!
But the thing is, that's kind of...
You're kind of sacrificing Gil's, like, ruthlessness in that case, though.
Yeah, you are. And also, Lancer could just repeatedly continue to strike him. Plus, he'd have to drink it.
Yeah, he'd have to drink it. You're pretty much giving up one of the strengths of Gilgamesh as a servant.
Yeah.
To do that, which is, very bad. And still, even after that, the fight can still go on.
Yeah.
At that point, he's fighting. It would save his life. It would save his life temporarily. So if there's any way to like get Lancer off of him at that point, like that's a really good move. But like at that point, you have a weaker Gilgamesh for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Because like there's no reversing that.
According to Hollow-Ataraxia, he can revert back to his older self at will. But
he can?
Hollow-Ataraxia is weird.
Weird but fun.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that part, but yeah, if he can do it at will, then I mean, yeah, at that point, like I'm guessing there'll be some sort of like a cooldown.
At the same time, he's only got the 1 potion. Like the thing about his
it's a get out of jail free one time.
His gate, it doesn't have an infinite resource of every weapon. He has like 1 of everything.
It's kind of like, honestly, like I don't really want to mention this like too like in detail, Carson, but it's kind of like whenever I gave the kind of nope, I'm not dead to one servant in the game that we were that you were in with me.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then like because he stopped himself from dying with that one stop himself from dying ability, you took him on as a servant. Like, oh, that kind of, he died and severed his contract by doing this ability. Hey, I'm a master that needs a servant. You're a servant.
He needs a master. Now go to that giant fucking floating top and explode, please.
Which just so happened to be Hephaestion.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, is one of Iskander's people, so.
Who actually appeared, named and with a proper design in Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Only briefly, though.
But yeah, that was, like, yeah, that seems like really cool. Like, I never thought about using the youth potion like that.
Do you think Gilgamesh has to clean up after himself? Like, after he fires everything at the Gate of Babylon, he has to go stick it all back in?
No, they teleport back.
Yeah, they all kind of, like, dissipate a little bit.
We know that because of the Unlimited Blade Works versus Gate of Babylon thing is they both have a pretty quick reload rate, but UBW wins because it reloads faster because it doesn't need to retrieve the weapons. Because Gilgamesh, when he fires, it hits, does its effect, it then disappears and goes back into the gate, then reloads, whereas UBW can conjure.
It's just like, oh!
So
I don't need any other things that don't hit you!
UBW also has the advantage of if he wants to use multiple of the same item, then it can. So, like even in Zero, when he uses several of his things to attack Caster's Noble Phantasm, and Tokyomi's like, you could finish it. He's like, hey, I just decided to abandon several of my weapons because they touched that thing. You don't tell me what to do. Like, he could have called them back, but I guess he left several ancient weapons at the bottom of the Fuyuki River.
Which is very interesting when you think about it. Like, no one ever went to get those.
Yeah.
Unless the Mages Association like came and got them. Like, cause they would have known, like in the 10-year interim, like that something like that happened.
King Gil hates his archer stuff. Oh, that's Grand Order stuff. Fuck that.
Does it really matter if they get left there? Because like, aren't they at that point just swords?
They're legendary weapons.
They're the actual legendary. Like he could fire fucking Excalibur.
Oh God, Levy's talking about your other.
He actually has Guam. He doesn't have Excalibur. He's the original legend that was the prototype.
That became Excalibur.
Yeah.
Hey Crow, Levy's talking about your other servant in the chat.
Oh yeah, fucking Robin Goodfellow. Fuck. Yo, what up? But yeah, could those be catalysts? No, they can't be used as catalysts.
Like would they?
Because he has the originals of everything. So
Noble Phantasms in general will only work for their designated user. So no, unless steps are taken to transfer them to somebody else, or somebody else conjures them with kind of the built-in notion that that person conjuring them is their new user, then no. So like, for example, nobody else can. A good example of that is when Shiro conjures Caliburn in the Fate route, but it doesn't have access to any of its actual abilities until Saber takes a hold of it.
Mm-hmm. Like, and also again, just like all these weapons that he summons have no history behind them.
Yeah.
He has all these weapons from their original states. That's when they all belong to him. So like none of the legend that they build up would be enough to summon a servant, I don't think.
Yeah, they have an advantage because of the like age of the legends, because Noble Phantasms are generally more powerful based on how old they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do not have the the legends or the heroes that would wield them because they're the prototype forms of those legends.
Which is one of here's the weird thing, which is one of his biggest weaknesses as a servant. The fact that he just has a ton of really hard-hitting things, but he can't use any of their specific abilities, like using a gay bog.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, his weakness is he's incredibly strong and powerful.
Like, his Guam, for example, is stronger as a individual anti-unit weapon than Excalibur, but it doesn't have the anti-army functions of Excalibur.
Yeah.
His weakness is he's just really, really strong.
Yeah. Gil is interesting. He's got a lot of like downfalls, but an like overwhelming amount of advantages.
Mm.
going back to the discussion about the weapons being left behind, I honestly just assumed he probably destroyed them knowing it's
Oh
him.
fuck!
Oh, he
Please
could
know
have.
I summoned Beowulf since both of us at one point agreed that the other was gonna do it.
Yeah, I know. I was talking about that in a stream the other day because like we had both agreed to like we had both like we're gonna summon Beowulf and then like neither of us did.
Actually, in my game where
Melody game, right?
Yeah, the melody game. Yeah.
Oh, you eventually did?
Yeah, Beowulf was summoned as one of the spirits that lived in someone's head, and like one of the players was channeling his noble phantasms.
Oh, okay.
Though I like, admittedly, I like the Grand Order Beowulf more than my Beowulf.
I haven't seen Grand Order Beowulf.
He's based off Tyler Durden. Like his design is based off of fucking Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden.
That's interesting. That's.
Grand Order.
I only just now learned that Scheherazade is actually a servant that's going to be summoned like in a year or two in English.
Yeah, but he's Beowulf is summoned as a berserker. I summoned him as a saber.
Yeah, if I would have summoned him, he would have totally been either a I don't know, because in my war we had different classes. I probably would have summoned him as a monster, to be honest. In mine.
I have monster. These days I try to stick to the base classes as much as possible. But
Yeah.
I'm building up to the first wars, and I'm like.
Well, we both know why my war had so many servants. So.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks sexy as fuck.
Doesn't he though?
Fuck yeah.
Time to put another thing in the chat. Holy shit.
Is he
Buddy.
here?
This guy is ripped.
Buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Are you here this time, buddy?
I don't think he's here this time.
I don't think he is.
Ripping
He's
pieces.
having internet problems, apparently.
Buddy, come back. Hey,
What,
you can blame
Can you guys tell me of Paracelsus?
There we go.
If you get it to 0 degrees, it doesn't move.
No, the servant, the caster.
Para who?
Paracelsus.
Paracelsus Van Hohenheim?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them, to be honest. I haven't encountered them in the game yet. Looking them up, their design looks cool.
Okay.
Are
'cause
you a lady?
that other D&D game I told you about, I apparently am going to be summoning him.
Oh,
Shit.
yeah, they look cool.
I'm trying to cheat and get an advantage.
Cheaters never
Right.
prosper,
Yeah,
except
right.
in fate.
What's NP? Like, I'm looking
Alright,
at...
see you, Izzy.
NP? That's fantastic.
Bye.
Oh,
Yeah, the stat, the NP stat for a servant, admittedly is the most useless stat because it's really hard to actually gauge anything by it, but basically it just represents how efficient they are with their like noble phantasm uses. Unfortunately, most servants tend to have at least one BS noble phantasm, so the noble phantasm stat is usually inflated.
Oh, okay.
Like with with Emiya, it's like E2 like A++. It's like, thanks for that. That's really helping me out.
What do you
And
think?
this
What do you
is
think
the
out of everything is actually the most useful stat for a servant?
I'm actually gonna say luck.
I was actually gonna go with luck myself.
Because like the other stats, like the power of your noble phantasms or your like individual abilities or class skills tend to kind of give an edge even if you're weaker. But like there's so many servants have like abilities that alter fate like itself or are based off of luck. Like for example, Gay Bulk, that the luck stat, if you don't have a high luck stat,
You're pretty
servants
fucked.
can just instantly destroy you.
Hmm.
The only reason Saber survived Gay Bolg is because of A, she has the instinct skill that was really high that lets her see the short-term future, which means that even though Gay Bolg rewrote the future, she was still aware of that future and could move slightly. And then her luck roll allowed her to avoid an absolute kill, as dictated by fate. She basically got 2 critical rolls in the same moment.
Goddamn.
Yeah. Otherwise, Saber would have died.
So I take it Paracelsus is just like an okay servant then.
I can't.
Depending on their game, like you can make anything a great servant. Let me look at Grand Order.
Yeah.
Like again,
his-
like one of like
his-
whenever you can make Julius Caesar, the one that they use, this silver class servant they have the strongest burst potential of any Saber servant on a single target, then you can make any servant good.
Yeah.
I mean, Doc, if you just want to go off his actual history, try and use things to justify for that for the game, he did a lot of really cool shit. Paracelsus, he's the guy who invented the term, toxicology.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was really big on poisons and stuff, and toxins. He's one of the guys who's like, hey, some things are poisonous, can actually be used as medicine if you actually, control the dosage.
What's the strongest iteration of Shiro between the Fate, UBW, and Heaven's
cool.
Feel paths? I'm gonna say probably UBW. Like Heaven's Feel
Yeah.
has the strong, largest short-term potential.
Yeah, but there's no way he's gonna. There's gonna be some back effects in Heaven Feel.
Yeah. Whereas spoilers for UBW Shiro took so much from Archer when he was fighting him that he's somewhat superhuman.
He's
He
basically
acquired-
pseudo Archer.
Yeah, he definitely couldn't fight against Archer toe-to-toe properly. Archer was weakened, and that's the only reason he won that fight. Well, actually, even though he didn't actually win the fight,
Yeah,
Archer
it-
basically gave up at the end. But, that Shiro is the most talented swordsman and understands his own projection and reinforcement in a way that far exceeds any of the other ones. Fate Shiro learns eventually, but it takes him longer to get there.
Doesn't he
He's-
technically even learn about his? I mean, I'm not 100% on this. I'm not actually that knowledgeable too much in UBW because I only played through the actual route once. But doesn't he come close, if not learn his origin in UBW because of Archer?
Of swords? Yeah, he does.
So yeah,
Also has
at that point in this iteration of Shiro, he even knows the purpose the world has for him.
Yeah. And additionally, UBW Shiro can use Unlimited Blade Works. Unlimited Blade Works is a skill that Archer only acquired after making his pact to become a Counter Guardian. It's a skill the world essentially constructed. He already had the basis for it, but he didn't have it in the form that he has it until the world was like, here, have a butt-fuck ton of mana. Whereas UBW Shiro, even though he needs Rin's help, he has UBW, which far exceeds the capabilities of most mages.
Yeah, and
Can
Fate Shiro's inherited limited by the fact that he has some of his circuits ripped out to help Saber.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
Can-
let's just be honest here.
The weakest.
The weakest Shiro is probably Fate Shiro.
Yeah, and then the weakest Shiro overall is Fate Shiro. The strongest, or I'd say the best Shiro is UBW. The strongest in short term is Heaven's Feel.
Because he basically is Super Archer in Heaven's Feel.
He overdrives himself and burns himself the fuck out. A few of the bad endings in that one are him trying to do things that he shouldn't be able to do, doing them anyways, and then dying.
He came out of
Damn, dude.
and to be honest, he came out of Fate story feeling almost incomplete because of what happened with Saber as well. So
Yeah.
even mentally, Shiro coming out of UBW is best Shiro.
Yep, he ends up the happiest there.
So
I think
explain why Shiro's skin color is basically a scale of how fucked up his life is. It's actually because his reinforcement magic affects his skin.
Damn.
The more he uses it, the more it affects the pigment in his skin because he's reinforcing it.
Oh, dude, Shiro, before Archer Shiro, before he became a Counter Guardian Shiro, but after War Shiro, is some of the most interesting shit. Not only does he get, again, he changed his appearance because of things happen, but he becomes affiliated with the church enough that they give him a holy fucking shroud, which is pretty cool. He becomes this great hero, even though he's more of a tragic hero. I would love to see more, shown of that.
Additionally, he becomes essentially the only hero of the modern age.
Mm-hmm.
The
It's so
interconnected
interesting.
The interconnected fashion that information forms in the modern age doesn't allow for proper mythology. Epic heroes can't really be produced by the modern age, but he kind of transcends that by saving the world a couple of times. Fucking. Let's see,
Guys.
yeah, what?
I have a theory. Donald Trump can do reinforcement magic.
That's why he's so orange. I never thought of this just now. You know the whole thing about how Archer is a foot fucking taller than Shiro. I that's the result of reinforcement magic changing his body over time.
Or it's the fact that
wanna
people
think-
don't stop growing until they're like in their early 20s.
I want to think that it was a conscious choice. He's like, no, I got to do something about this height issue.
Maybe he just has really, really thick shoes, man.
Why does his voice change? Because he was a big fan of Junichi Sawabe and just reinforced his vocal cords.
He wanted to sound more manly and intimidating.
I wish I could reinforce my vocal cords.
Also,
That sounds
because
dangerous.
because at the end of UBW, when he's running out of mana, his hair falls down. I've always kind of liked to believe that he constantly reinforces his beard.
Jesus.
I believe it.
He puts a lot of effort into looking that good. Like, come on.
80% of his actual
And
mana
it
usage.
works. And it fucking works. He's amazing. Archer's such a tragic story because he like represents like boundless effort to overcome like every possible adversity towards someone's dream, and then realizing that the dream itself is like what went wrong. Like, it's exactly the result he was always aiming for, but it betrayed him in the end. It's not like something went like wrong. It's not like he had to make compromises. Like, he himself says, like, I got into this position because I was unwilling to make compromises. Ugh.
How old is he supposedly? Like,
Yeah, Archer, or it's kind of left in the air.
He, from what we understand, he doesn't really die.
Archer?
Yeah, like he didn't really die, did he? Like,
Yeah, he got hung.
he got hung. Okay, so
He was
there is a
executed,
specific age then.
From
somewhere.
my understanding of how he works as a counter guardian, he made a deal with the planet to achieve a lot of power and fully to finalize UBW, and then he used that to protect the world on his own terms. But then when he died, basically the world claimed him. Because it's also mentioned in other Fate stuff that a lot of heroes have done this. That, like, for example, apparently Saber at one point made a similar contract, and like part of her fate is, and like her noble phantasms and why they're so powerful are joined to the fact that she's made a contract with some iteration of the world, and when she dies, it essentially owns her as a counter guardian. So I think that's it. I would say age-wise, I'm guessing late 20s, early 30s.
Give him enough time to save the world a couple times. 10 years.
I'm late 30s at late 30s at the oldest, but he doesn't seem that old to me.
Yeah.
just
No,
was
he's a-
wondering if there was like an established
No.
numeric value.
No, there isn't. I will say that if we talk accumulated age, like how long he's been conscious of his own existence.
Yeah, well,
his time past death has been a long time.
he's kind of been through all of history at some point.
Yeah, he's the small bursts of consciousness he's had with somebody more than his lifetime. Ugh, that's such a pained existence because his whole life is he's summoned. He usually just assassinates targets to prevent something from happening, and then he poofs out of existence. And then from his perspective, moments later, is summoned to do the same thing again.
Yeah.
Infinitely.
Which is, again,
Over
one
and
reason
over
why
and
he's
over.
like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's not that every once in a while he had a tragic issue where he had to kill someone he didn't want to. It was his
Constant.
existence is increments of murdering people endlessly. There's no rest for a counter guardian. They're not a human anymore.
Thank you for the sub, Toxoa Dragneel.
No.
Oh, cool.
I feel like that must have made the war very enjoyable for him. He's like, I'm gonna sit down.
Well, at the start, he was willing to take it slowly. When he was summoned, he didn't want to throw himself into things initially.
He's like, let's have some fucking tea. Let's chill. Let's.
As long as we kill me, I'm fine.
I imagine most of his summonings probably lasted periods of minutes at best. He probably had some longer ones, but we've seen in his flashbacks, we saw him get summoned, kill a group, disappear.
And then there was that time he got summoned to the alternate universe inside of a video game. That was pretty interesting to him, probably.
Keep in mind that Archer's also not the same Archer. he expresses that he's not. That Archer has his own fucking series of adventures. at the end of Extella, that archer, like if you do his side story, he's like aware of the multiple timelines, and he's aware of the 3 cores from what is it called, Velga? Fuck, the meteor that dropped cores. Velga. Like he's aware of its 3 cores, and he's like, well, there goes the first one. Guess we'll go back to the other ones. And he's like, it's implied that his entire existence is revolving around fighting them, which is such a weird thing.
I still haven't actually played and beat the first extra, which is something I really need to do at some point because I don't want to ruin everything for me by looking up what happens. I can kind of guess what happens because I know the starts of both Extella and like the start of where the differences show in CC, but yeah. I don't want to ruin it for me, so I'm not looking into extra. I really want to play it one day. I need to get myself a PSP.
First of all, Marcus, it's why was Archer hung, not why was Archer hunged. And second of all, as for why Archer was hung and how did he save the world, we don't know how he saved the world. We just know he prevented a huge scale war, and in Heaven's Field we find out he fought against a world-ending entity at one point that's similar to a corrupt Holy Grail, but not the same. Basically,
it's stuff beyond our knowledge, but just look at the Type Moon universe. Bad shit happens all the time.
We know it's something monumental and world-threatening that he fought against, probably with other mages, but he was instrumental in defeating it. He also apparently diffused some large political situation that could have caused probably a world war. The reason he was hung was because, again, it's vague, but he says that after the event, his enemies ended up pegging the whole thing on him and making it seem like he started the conflict and put the world in danger, so he was killed as a traitor. And
which that's the tragedy of the character.
Yeah, he spent his whole life selflessly protecting people, regardless of himself, and in the end was betrayed by everybody.
Wasn't that what his buddy was saying earlier too? Is that like, if you keep doing this, you're gonna wear yourself out, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's.
But yeah, I mean, luckily enough, I guess I don't think that whatever that future has in store for him is actually gonna happen anymore, depending on the Shiro. Because like no matter if you really think about it, the original Shiro, let's just go Fate Shiro. Probably whatever happens will probably happen.
Yeah.
Like whatever happens in the future will probably happen to him.
He just doesn't have the knowledge to prevent it.
His is the timeline of Archer.
Then there is the Unlimited Blade Work Shiro, which I don't think it would. I don't think that he would be hung in that timeline.
Well, Rin's with him.
I don't know. We have to ask Rin.
Rin's with him. He actually goes to Clock Tower with Rin at some point. Learns a lot more about magical doodads and policies and things of that nature. Is stronger in this version.
I think with Rin around, the important thing is he stopped from becoming mechanical. He has somebody else that can act as a mediator between him and what his sense of right is. Because the problem with Archer is he eventually gave up who he is for the sense of I have to protect everyone. Like he just.
And that's also the biggest thing as well, though. In UBW, he challenged his own ideals, and he won against himself.
Yep. So he's more aware in that one. In Heaven's Field, he has a contained future that will not affect the world.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought Archer was like from a unit. He didn't participate in the Holy Grail War.
It's tricky.
It's vague.
About, but essentially the Fate Path. That's what created Archer. That's the understanding, or one similar to it.
If there was a path in which there was no Archer, we haven't seen it.
Yeah. But the Fate Path will lead to
Archer.
Like Archer. So
because basically he doesn't like he has to have been saved at one point by Rin and gotten the jewel. Like he had to have gotten the jewel to eventually become Archer. Which means that if there was another war that Archer wasn't there, Rin would have still had to have used her really important, really, really big mana jewel on him to save his life. So I honestly believe there isn't one we haven't seen, because
I
that
know.
just seems like really out of place for Ren to do.
Like, one could argue the fate path itself is a paradox if you think of it in that way, but the thing is, servants are paradoxes. That's
Yeah,
why they
like
need mana.
the Grail doesn't give a fuck about paradoxes.
Like
The world's already
again,
trying to fight against it. The Grail doesn't care.
servants are paradoxes. That's like the world's trying to erase them because they shouldn't exist in this timeline. They shouldn't exist. Period. In that body, it's dead. The world's like, you don't make sense. I'm erasing you, and that's why they need mana to anchor them. One being from a future that already occurred, and they're being a paradox, isn't actually a stretch. Like for the Grail.
Didn't they also say that partially occurs because the Grail is corrupted at this point? That's how servants like Archer are allowed to be a thing.
No, that's.
It's more Medusa. It's more Medusa for that.
Your Medusas and your Medeas can be brought forth. Basically, it's because Angramayu, which himself was an anti-hero.
Oh shit, that's a spider.
No, Angermeyer was a boy, not a spider.
Yeah,
because Angramayu itself was an anti-hero, but was forcefully summoned by the Einsburns.
By the people who created the system, so.
And the nature of its origin infected the Grail because of how it exists. Servants like it could be more easily summoned, which led to anti-heroes. And the definition of an anti-hero in this context is a being that inspired mankind to goodness by example. Like villains that you can learn from. Like in Medusa's case, she was a completely pristine, heroic entity that turned evil because of like how others treated her, and like her own misfortunes, and fell into darkness and hatred because of the jealousy of others. So she teaches us not to be that way. She teaches us that we can become that way if we don't.
And Medea almost copy paste.
Yeah, almost exactly. In Gilderay's case, it's Gilderay gave in to his darker emotions despite the fact that he was once a pristine, shining beacon of hope. So it's like they show us what we could become, and that qualifies. Beings that are legitimate villains can't be summoned in theory. Like, you know, despite the fact that like angels and high spirits like that can't be summoned, the devil's never going to be summoned because
Hitler's never going to show up.
There's no way around that, even though people are like, but Mephistopheles, and it's like, yeah, but A, Grand Order, and B, that's not Lucifer. Get out of here.
If you were to try it, one thing I want to do. One thing I want to do one day is sit down.
Not like in the Grail War spectrum, but as like one could argue he is the good guy of his story.
One way that I would love to like spend a day is just kind of sitting down and trying my hardest to make sense of Grand Order.
Jesus.
Like trying to find workarounds, like trying to find as many workarounds in the actual like lore of Fate that could potentially make Grand Order a thing, but it would be so fucking stupid and hard.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, people's easy way out is they're like, but second true magic though, and I'm like, but that's not how second true magic works. Parallel worlds doesn't mean everything's happened.
Parallel worlds means everything within the way the world works could possibly have happened.
Also, funny enough, Grand Order and the Extra/Extella games are within the same continuity.
Are you?
And Extella proposes that there's something called a quantum lock, that every once in a while the universe cuts off all parallel worlds that are not like the one that will survive for at least another 100 years, and then 100 years later it does the same thing to prevent like needless amounts of parallel worlds to exist. So if Grand Order functions on it like its own continuity's interpretation of the second true magic, there aren't infinite universes. There are at most a few hundred.
Well, because again, like even in Grand Order, like in the game, they're actually saying that, oh, if we don't fix a bunch of shit, we're gonna like humanity's over. Like that's a big thing. That's a big thing in the plot for Grand Order is like we need to fix a whole ton of shit, or we're not gonna live past like next year.
Yeah, if like the second true magic functioned like in a way if anything could happen, then the past being altered wouldn't actually affect their occurring reality. It would affect a different one. It'd be DBC, essentially. It'd be there's a universe where everything went badly and it's not ours.
Hateful Bastard said, but you can summon actually Satan.
That's true. You votes 100% maximum no chill. Perseus would be a rider. Perseus was actually supposed to.
Yes,
be
Perseus would definitely be a rider.
In Prototype, Perseus was the rider servant, but whenever Stay Night was made, he was
I really wish we could actually get Prototype.
I know.
That seems so interesting.
what I love about Prototype is that it operates on a completely different set of rules. Like the Holy Grail War of Prototype is a whole different
Yeah.
thing.
I keep hoping we'll get something like they did for Karen or Kyokai, but for Prototype, like a
That would be so
retelling
cool.
or
It really
expansion of
would.
it. Love to see
I think
that.
there's only one story left in Kara no Kyokai that hasn't been put into a movie too. So once that's done, hey, for Prototype, let's go.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Fucking Kata no Kyokai. Kata no Kyokai with its secretly having the most powerful character in the entire Type Moon universe in it.
Hey, now, that's arguable.
Void Shiki is God. Void Shiki is the root. Are you familiar with Void Shiki?
I'm familiar with Void Shiki. I am. And Levy's gonna kill me in the thing for it. He's gonna kill me for saying this.
She's essentially she is the root. She can mess with the source code of the universe.
Here's the thing.
Essentially,
Here's the thing. One of her personalities is extremely connected to the root. One of her three personalities, the main her, is.
I'm not saying Shiki's the most powerful. I'm not saying Shiki or Shiki's the most powerful. but Void Shiki, or I like to call them Void, but it becomes kind of a non-specific. Void Shiki specifically, the entity that is that third personality that only thinks it's wise to even look at the world every dozen years. That personality possesses unlimited authority in the world. It is the closest thing to God without having so much authority that it's outside of time.
The only problem I have with calling it the biggest of the universe, the strongest in the universe, is the fact that Shiki herself, that Shiki only shows up very occasionally and can be easily defeated by having the other one destroyed.
Type Mercury can beat any servant, but it's always asleep. It doesn't mean it's
Understood. All I'm saying is, I still want to throw my girl Alko out there.
Alko is powerful, but she has she's powerful in a damage output / I fuck with time way. Void Shiki is powerful in a I don't adhere to the laws of the universe way.
And the universe doesn't like that.
No, but she's also above the authority of the planet. She exists outside the rules of Gaia.
All right. I'll give you that she exists beyond this. I give you all of this. I'm still saying a good fire spell from my girl Alko to that girl Shiki without that other girl Shiki being that Shiki, and that is gonna blow up that body of Shiki.
I actually don't think destroying Shiki's body would destroy the entity that is Void Shiki.
Really?
Because I think Void Shiki, it exists at the space between the two personalities, but I feel like when you're at that level of existence, I feel like she probably is connected to, but not inherently within that body. Void Shiki is the root, which means that entity can exist as long as the root exists.
Well, the thing that I got from Shiki, that Shiki, is that she's not the root. Her origin is void, which makes her have a humongous connection to the root. But again, I don't know a lot about Kara no Kyokai. I can't really say that.
The problem is we only know what we've been told from interviews and from 2 conversations.
That is true. This is all just a bunch of dragging together so much we can from Type Moon, but
a lot of this is based off of Nasu being yeah, she's essentially unlimited, and her own statement where she's I could rearrange the world into whatever shape I wanted to, but what's the point? Because then it would just be that shape.
Hateful Bastard said so. Oh, so Void Shiki plays by Gilgamesh rules.
No, Gilgamesh plays by rules, except for extra Gilgamesh, which I find the extra continuity and the geo continuity likes to fillet Gilgamesh.
Oh yeah.
Especially his whole you kicked me to the other side of the fucking data universe. I was thousands of light years away, but don't worry, I got this ship that moves faster than light, so I'm back.
Servants in themselves, as far as in the Type Moon universe, are extremely powerful, but not a crazy big deal.
A big thing that makes them powerful is the fact that they can't be touched by most things in the rest of the world.
Yeah, servants in particular, they're beyond what normal mages can strive for, unless your name is Alcohol.
Eric, the words make sense individually, and sometimes they string together so I can understand. But everything else might as well be fucking Chinese.
That's Type Moon, man. That's Type Moon in a nutshell.
I'd like to reiterate for the stream what I posted up there. I get the DC multiverse. I don't understand what the fuck you guys are talking about.
It's like Deco and I just stepped aside and we're like, oh, that was close. They almost realized.
This is why whenever we do that other stream, we need people but me and Crow.
Well, it's hard to get in it. Okay, to be fair, Deco, it's hard to get a word in edgewise when you do it.
That's ridiculous.
Because I was actually going to straight up ask, like, while we're on the subject of Shiki, can we all agree though that Kiryu Kyokai Shiki's better than Tsukihime's?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Tsukihime,
definitely. Like even if you take it away from like just being Mimi, even if you take it away from just being Mimi, Tsukihime is bad, blah 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 blah. Like Shiki could beat the shit out of Shiki.
Yeah, Shiki could definitely beat Shiki's ass.
Oh, totally.
Like, let's just be honest here. Like, the one thing that other Shiki has over this Shiki is he has glasses that can't be destroyed.
Okay, Eric, this one I can actually explain to you. Type Moon has made 2 series, Tsukihime and Kara no Kyokai, that are kind of alternate versions of each other. Tsukihime has a main character who's a guy named Shiki who has eyes that can see death, in one way. And Kara no Kyokai has a girl with multiple personalities, also named Shiki, with a similar but superior ability.
But boy Shiki has glasses that can't be destroyed.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking. I like Tsukihime for Arcued, and it's also good at establishing lore. And it's also in line with it's in line with Stay Night. Like,
Oh, and one of the one people Arcued's afraid of is Alco.
Yeah, because isn't Ciel like in the backstory of Emiya at one point?
Kind of. It's actually interesting that they're both kind of canon to it because post the ending of Heaven's Feel, there's a certain situation with Shiro. I won't spoil. There's a certain situation with Shiro where he needs help with something, and he gets help from you don't know where, but it's heavily implied to be Aoko Ozaki's sister.
Toko.
Toko is one of the best things in the Type Moon universe.
Toko is awesome after she's not a villain anymore.
No, well, do you mean before? Because Kara no Kyokai is before.
Is Kara no Kyokai? No, it's not before. It's not before. The whole thing between her and Aoko, with her having a fucking werewolf servant and shit.
That's her whole life. No, it totally is because like she at the end of Kara no Kyokai, she directly says like I've gotten too comfortable here, and then she takes off to go do that stuff.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
That's so. Oh my god, that's so great.
But she is whatever she needs to be at any given time.
Because I thought that Aoko at that point was older than she is, but I guess not because she is the younger sister, isn't she?
She's just playing the part.
Oh shit.
Fucking what was I gonna?
Oh my god.
Arcued Brunstead is great. Like she is amazing, and I love her to bits. And Ciel's okay.
Just a fascinating character, just everything about her.
Tsukihime as a whole was the first thing that came out of Type Moon as a company.
But wait, no.
It was trying to do a lot at once.
No, it can't be.
Why not?
Because Aoko is an adult whenever she gives male Shiki the glasses that are indestructible, which means her story has already happened.
By the time Tsukihime happened?
Yeah.
Well, there's the thing. There's where we get into the weird situation.
But they're alternate universes of each other, so they should go for the same time period.
I firmly believe that the Aoko that affects, or the Aoko and fucking Toko that affect Tsukihime are alternate like reality versions of them.
But it still should be around the same age, though.
Not necessarily, especially with how early Type Moon was organizing itself, but not well. Like I was gonna say, Tsukihime was really good, but it was they were doing a lot at once in Tsukihime. Like they were establishing a lot of weird church things and vampire things and magic things all at once. Specifically, the church and how it handles itself and the equipment that it uses has dramatically changed in tone since Tsukihime.
Oh shit, Finn showed up!
Hey.
Finn said, question, I missed the entire stream and can't rewatch it till like Wednesday. So, does Finn Owl retain his 57 dice? Should he be summoned again?
He was summoned again, and yes, he still has them.
I summoned him again, and he has more health this time.
So I'd have to rationalize why I'm not taking Gael's dice away from him every time he dies and comes back. So
Finn, you live.
He came back and he said, "Yo, what it do?"
He said, "Yo, what it do?"
oh yeah, Aaron's now the voice and personality of Finn, by the way. But yes, Kata no Kyokai is absolutely my overall point. Is way more consistent and has a clearer narrative, ironically, than Tsukihime.
Oh yes, oh definitely yes. I mean, if you watch it in order, it does.
Yeah, if you watch it in order.
If you watch it in order of not release, but of time zone or time period.
But it's like the movie order is like, I believe
Why
it's.
would they release it that way then?
I
That's
believe
so
it's
stupid.
They did the same thing that the Monogatari books did.
I think it's 4, 1, 3, 2, 5, 6, 7, if I recall.
I need to watch them at some
That's
point.
part of the reason why I didn't understand what the hell was happening when I watched it. I started with the 4th movie. Second of all, the Shiki looks like Ayako, so I was thinking it was Ayako the entire time, and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Didn't tip you off that they were calling her Shiki?
I figured it was like, a different identity that she gave herself or something like that, or she suffered amnesia.
And then there's that dude that looks like Shiro but isn't Shiro.
Yeah, fucking Paradox Spiral dude.
Yeah.
Funny story, and this is kind of insulting to the rest of the cast, but that dude, the voice director for the stuff, and I believe Nasu also, made a comment where they were like working on Paradox Spiral and working with him. He's like, I don't mean this as a slight to the other actors, but he had such emotional depth that I felt like he didn't fit in because he was way more in character than the rest of the actors.
Oh,
You know what the biggest difference? You know what the biggest difference between Kao no Kyokai and Tsukihime is that like no one seems to ever talk about, but like is very funny to me. The biggest difference seems to be one of them decided to fuck with Alcarid and the other one didn't.
Yeah.
One thing else I think makes like you're talking about the inconsistencies of Tsukihime. We also got to think about the different formats of the two media originally, because I mean, Kara no Kyokai's, is him later in life dressed into story in the form of a light novel.
Yeah, as opposed
It's
to
a
a
lot-
visual novel.
Yeah, there's a lot more. I mean, it's the same argument with like Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. Zero got a better adaptation in part because it didn't have to worry about the routes and different characters can
It also
develop
didn't
different
have
ways to each
nearly
route.
as much to translate into an anime.
That is also
Yeah.
very true.
I'm
still gonna be amazed if they actually get good movies out of the Heavens Feel route.
Oh, I
I
have
know
faith in that.
3.
I still wish we could get like an
How much
actual
of
like
a cut
one
though?
movie of the Fate route. Like I would
Yeah,
actually be
definitely.
really happy.
That'd be cool.
I think that could be done.
What
that could be
was I
done in
gonna
a movie.
say? What was that? Fuck, I had a thought.
I mean, I absolutely
I know,
adore
I
the
know,
Dean
but-
anime, but I would love still to get like a new Fate route.
Do you want to know? Okay, you want to know some like inane bit of trivia that's hilarious?
Mhm.
Yes, Tsukihime cannot possibly be canon to Extra, Extella, and Grand Order because those series, that continuity requires Velber to implant cores within the moon, and apparently the key difference between that universe and a lot of the other ones is that if Arquid is around, when Velber comes close to the moon, she's like, "Fuck off!" and breaks it.
That's the coolest
Yeah,
part. Like, I
Arcuid's
still
amazing.
think that that's the most interesting part of Tsukihime is just the fact that Arcuid saves the show.
Yep.
Arcuid is just like the most interesting part about Tsukihime, even though I consider the entire thing like almost boring as hell, almost borderline unwatchable in some parts. Borderline
To those in the
unwatchable in
chat-
some parts, but it still gets saved by that one character, and I do love her.
To those in the chat that are discussing what order to watch Fate in, I agree with Ace Shadowwood's recommendation, except I would switch Zero and UBW. I think that Zero is more poignant if you, know. Actually, you know what? The Dean anime, then Zero, then UBW makes sense.
Yeah.
If you weren't going to watch the Dean anime, though, I'd say UBW Zero. But
Yeah,
Dean's
if
before-
you're not gonna watch Dean, then UBW Zero. But yeah, but if you're gonna watch all of them, because I do recommend you watch Dean. Like, freaking watch
Yes,
Dean.
absolutely. And first,
I need to watch
it has
it.
to be first.
You have to watch Dean first, or you're not gonna just do it. All right.
I didn't do that. I'm
Fuck
sorry.
you, Emerald.
I mean, I disagree entirely that you have to do that, but whatever.
You have to. Otherwise, you will not appreciate Dean when you watch it.
Like you can't watch Dean if you watch it later.
Yeah.
Like
I always have trouble recommending what order to tell people to watch things in because I say Dean is really boring, just don't bother watching it. But at the same time, it's the reason why I was able to enjoy UBW and Fate Zero as much as I did.
you don't get any of the surprise from the other ones. Like you don't get any of the surprise from anything but Dean, because every other iteration beyond Dean assumes you watch Dean.
Yeah.
Like every
like-
other
it builds
iteration
up a lot.
assumes you
It's a
watch
good
the original, because they
It's a
just
good
spoil
soft
everything.
entrance into it. Like it explains concepts that, albeit it explains some of them wrong, but it explains concepts that like are basic enough that when you get into the other ones, they work. It's kind of like exactly why the visual novel starts with the fate path and doesn't let you branch out immediately, because you need the fate path to understand the rest.
If they ever remake the Fate
Also
Path,
shortest too, so.
if they ever remake the Fate Path, then my mind might change. But until they do, Dean, man, like there's nothing really inherently wrong with Dean, especially if you start out with Dean, because you don't have any knowledge of what of any of the real big faults that people usually bring up to it. Like if you
Or if you're
watch
gonna go
Dean
Dean.
first and then
To
get
be
to
fair.
know Shiro from UBW, like that just means you like Shiro better in UBW, whatever. But like,
To be fair, the third quarter of Dean is weird no matter what.
Uh,
because
no matter
of,
what,
like,
it's-
some of the Sandro shit.
it's still good. It's
Mhm.
weird, but it's still
It's not
good.
like, oh yeah, this character exists. We need to do something with her, I guess.
Yeah.
It's better than the regular Fate route, where it's just like half the servants just die off fucking screen.
Yeah, they do. The Dean anime is actually very generous to them.
It's just like, oh, you remember Caster? How you were like really worried about that? And yeah, she doesn't fucking exist anymore.
Assassin doesn't even get brought up. He has his one fight, and then later on, he's just Caster dies, and then he just goes. He's just gone.
It's just
Bye,
like it's
everybody.
just like I assume Gilgamesh doesn't even kill him. He just looks at him as he disappears.
No,
Yeah.
from what I understand, like Assassin just like fades away in that path.
It's just like I'm just imagining like Sasuke just like kill me, fight me, and he's just staring at him as he disappears.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.
Well, I could talk about this for hours. I actually would like to go. Possibly
We've actually went further
Feels
than
like you had
we've actually
to be
went
completely
further.
honest.
We've actually went further than we've probably ever done for the post-game streams. It's been like an hour and 40 minutes, so I do think this is a really good time for us to probably end things off until the future when we have a Fate/Type Moon stream all to itself. We'll probably hold things off until another time that we just happen to talk about this.
Okay.
But
All right. Goodbye.
this was a very interesting conversation. I hope everybody here enjoyed themselves. We all enjoyed ourselves. The game was fantastic, Crow. Like, it really was. Thank you very much.
I like how that's a question. The game was fantastic, right?
Yes, Nico, it was.
It was very good. I just wanted to like make sure that you knew. It was very fantastic. I wanted to like, say it in a questioning tone so other people could also speak up and be like, "Yeah." But I also noticed that the only people who actually played are gone. So
Yeah.
so
I
at
will
that
admit
point,
after last week's-
it was very good.
I will admit after last week's game, because I was so out of it because of the melatonin I took, I was worried that you guys didn't have a lot of fun that game.
No, we had fun that game too. Don't you even worry about it.
Okay.
But they were both very fun games. This was a very fun situation. Thank you, Thales Garcia, for the subscription. But I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. We all enjoyed ourselves. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or wisecracks, throw them down in the comments below. Or you can head over to the Discord that Levy just linked. Talk to me on a more regular basis. But yes, I think this is fun. Until next time, guys. Have anything else to
I'm gonna
say?
go make some wisecracks.
You freaking yeah. Until next time, guys. Later days.
Bye.
Bye.